Hello there, and welcome. Well, it's Friday, time for an anomaly. And this one's a little bit, I don't know, I'm not sure quite how to put this one. So, I was in the first few years I was teaching English, and I had this textbook with my sophomores who were lower level sophomores. So the textbook was a low-level reading text, and the stories in it were simple-minded beyond belief. And that really bothered me because even though my students in my class had lower reading skills, they didn't have lower thinking skills. They were getting ready to enter their adult life, and they needed something that allowed them to really stretch their muscles and to engage with something that was powerful. And so in desperation, I went to the library and I found a really old and terribly clunky translation of Dante's Inferno, the first part of Dante's Commedia. Now, I had never read it. So when I picked it out, this was a really old translation. I started Xeroxing the translation and bringing it in for the students to read. I didn't know, I had heard of it. I didn't know what was in it, but I figured, hell's pretty interesting. And wow, did it get the kids going. They were excited to be reading it. For one thing, nobody else in the whole school was reading it. For another thing, it was hell. They were reading about hell. And wow, they couldn't wait to read these passages. And one of the things that I discovered was there was a certain reaction to certain things in the way Dante structured it that were as predictable as the face of a clock. We'd get to some level of hell that we were talking about, and some kid's arm would go up and say, "How does he know this?" And there was in their face a sort of aggressive, feeling accused expression. And I knew, okay, we've gotten to a sin where you think the punishment is too severe. And it bothers you. It's bothering you. This is bothering you. And the thing was, we didn't treat it as scripture. From the start, I said, this is Dante kind of trying to imaginatively paint a picture of a concept. He didn't actually go on a tour of hell. That didn't actually happen. But the way it's written is so effective, and his punishments are so effective that it's easy as you read it to begin to see it as kind of like a movie, a story that's happening that maybe did happen. It didn't. Dante did not go on a tour of hell. It just didn't happen. It's an imaginative work of art. But one of the things that came up as we discussed it was students began to see something about it that seemed very human and real to them. And part of it was this. Dante's concept was not really about the dead. It was about the living. He was writing about dead people, but of course the question came up, why are they all Italians? He's not really writing about hell. He's writing about the human experience, and hell is the mirror he's holding up to it. And what you begin to understand that Dante was suggesting was people who've lost the ability to control their own impulses are already in hell. They're not in control of themselves. They aren't able to resist rage or anger or lust or any. They are completely blown on the winds of their own desires. And that seemed very familiar to the young people because they understood that. They understood what it meant to be out of control. The other thing was there were these moments that came up where the students were amused but also struck by them there's a moment where he recognizes some guy in hell and he says, wait a minute, you're not dead. You're still walking around Florence. And the guy says, oh yeah, I died years ago. They've got a demon driving my body up there. The very imaginative idea of that, wow, the kids really reacted to that. The thing is, presenting students with something that controversial is now, for many schools, taboo when it shouldn't be. I think presenting students with something challenging is perfectly acceptable as long as you are clear about you're not trying to make anybody a Catholic or a Protestant or a Muslim you're not trying to make anybody change their worldview. You're trying to introduce them to the work of an artist. And the artist is making suggestions and arguments about the human experience. I think it's too bad that we often try to keep the bad stuff away from kids. They know it's out there. The way we protect them, I think, more successfully is by making it clear to them it's out there, and there are things you can defend yourself against, and there are things you can resist, and you don't have to be a victim of your own desires. You can make the right choice, make a good and healthy choice. That's it for today. John's birthday comes on apace, and I'm looking forward to Saturday. That's going to be his birthday, and that is his birthday. And I'm hoping I have a really good interview. I have two people I'm hoping one of them will agree to doing an interview on his birthday. That said, I hope you have a glorious rest of the day, and I hope you see me soon. You gorgeous people.